So now we're talking. Okay. Hello. Happy 5th of July for wherever you are. In case anyone who didn't know about America, yesterday was a big national holiday for us, which is a lot of fun, fireworks and stuff like that. And we had a lot of friendly banter going on the Redwall page. It's very showing how many of those are Americans and how many are Brits. It was a lot of fun. Hey, so what we're doing today for stream is a couple of things. One is we want to start working on a playthrough, just kind of a show and tell. I don't know how far we'll get, largely because we had an opportunity kind of show up last minute today that we thought we'd take advantage of. There's a fella in our office today named Andrew Reff, and Andrew's coming on to camera here any minute. And Andrew, we probably met Andrew 7-8 years ago. I'm not quite sure when.
Long time.
But he does motion graphics, and we worked with him on a couple projects in the past. We will have a chance to show bits of here. And for any of you who have seen the cinematics, which, for lack of a better word, let's call them slideshow cinematics that we have in the game currently, we decided we want to kind of push those to the next level, largely with kind of a motion graphics treatment. So Andrew's in the shop here to brainstorm, talk about ideas, and if you'd like, let's show a couple. Let's show your demo reel and see what people see there, and just to kind of get a sense of what we're talking about and where we might be going. John, it's on you. Boop. And play. I loved Gravity. That movie was awesome.
John, I pinged you 2 links.
I could use it on this one too.
Portland.
Is it?
Yeah. Small sales.
John to show the things you pinged him on Basecamp?
Yeah, that's the what is on there? There's the Jeremy Fisher episode. It's kind of long, but
let's see.
Yeah, you're logged on as John McLaughlin, so you'd have to log out of this or see it on the other things.
Okay, we might be able to get there. Let's see.
Do activity. Look for activity, and maybe it'll show up there.
I just pinged him on. Does that show up?
It won't show up if it's not a ping.
I can. You want me to just ping John?
Yeah, do me. Yeah. Ping John McLaughlin and JB. Why don't you play one of the other cinematics? Okay. So to tell you, like that was Andrew's demo reel. So it kind of gives you an overview. In short, what Andrew specializes in, and I'll let him correct me if I say this wrong, is he'll take any 2D image. And so we first met him working on a bunch of Beatrix Potter stuff where you're working with the original, like 100-year-old watercolors, and then he'll animate them in quite dramatic detail, including lip syncing and adding effects and creating body parts that weren't there, all kinds of stuff. And so it's a really a fascinating process. And then what we thought would be fun is to take the art that we got from Jeremy and from Aaron that show all the different scenes of the characters of Liam and Sophia and Coyle and all the folks, and then kind of bring those up to the next layer in terms of action, probably lip syncing, because some of them are there's quite a bit of verbiage in there, and kind of just bring the whole thing forward. It's kind of an art form that is pretty particular in the sense like it doesn't fit all cases, and it's kind of labor intensive. Actually, it's quite labor intensive, but boy is it a hoop. So we're going to show you just a little bit more of the kind of work Andrew does, including I think some of the work that we've done with him.
Yeah, this is Beatrix Potter. Jeremy Fisher.
YouTube first. YouTube first.
Yes, or Vimeo first. So.
All right.
The Tale of Jeremy Fisher by Beatrix Potter. Once upon a time, there was a frog called Mr. Jeremy Fisher. He lived in a little damp house amongst the buttercups at the
Can I remind you, like this comes from a 100-year-old drawing. None of this existed.
In the larder and in the back passage, but Mr. Jeremy liked getting his feet wet. Nobody ever scolded him, and he never caught a cold. He was quite pleased when he looked out and saw large drops of rain splashing in the pond.
Was the rain even
"I
in
will
that
get
image?
some worms and go
There might have
fishing
been drops,
and
I
catch a
can't
dish of
remember.
minnows for my dinner," said Mr. Jeremy Fisher. "If I catch more than 5 fish, I will invite my friends, Mr. Alderman Ptolemy Tortoise and Sir Isaac Newton."
I didn't even notice the worm gets away. That's awesome.
Mr. Jeremy put on a mackintosh and a pair of shiny galoshes. He took his rod and basket and set off with enormous hops to the place where he kept his boat. The boat was round and green and very like the other lily leaves. It was tied to a water plant in the middle of the pond. Mr. Jeremy took a reed pole and pushed the boat out into open water. "I know a good place for minnows," said Mr. Jeremy Fisher. Mr. Jeremy stuck his pole into the mud and fastened the boat to it. Then he settled himself cross-legged and arranged his fishing tackle. He had the dearest little red float. His rod was a tough stalk of grass. His line was a fine long white horsehair, and he tied a little wriggling worm at the end. The rain trickled down his back, and for nearly an hour he stared at the float. "This is getting tiresome. I think I should like some lunch."
Okay, I don't want to give away the whole product unless I'm going to buy it.
He punted back.
But go ahead, let's see the other one.
The other one is that time lapse.
Oh, the time lapse I really like. So before we do the time lapse, or maybe you can just talk over it. Would you just kind of tell us a little bit about your process? Like, how do you do it?
I think I actually give a little intro before it.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll just take a.
Which one is it?
It was the second link. It was that YouTube link that you
Oh,
sent
okay.
me. Oh, it's the middle one.
That one? This one here?
Middle.
Oh, right there. Okay.
So I would just take like a single image.
Hey, how's it going? Andrew Reff coming to you from the Wonder Shop,
It's been a few years,
aka
yes.
my house. And we had some people out there saying it'd be really cool if we could show you how we take one still image and turn it into a fully animated scene for one of our Wonder boats. So I decided to take the very first page out of Beatrix Potter's Jemima Puddle Duck and bring it to life right before your very eyes. So anyways, I hope you enjoy.
He still has more hair than you.
That's the truth. Good old Jemima Puddle. So, do you put those hinges in Photoshop?
You can move the anchor point when you're rotating stuff. So I just put it where
I
I
didn't know
want
that.
the pivot point to be.
Now, this is After Effects, right?
Now this is After Effects. Yes.
can see how we take one illustration.
I don't drink Coke anymore.
Probably because you ruined yourself with it.
Thank you very much for watching.
Right on. Okay, so, and then we're going to show you just a little bit more. The next thing I want to show you is some things that we've posted on Facebook of some test shots that Andrew started working on from bits that are in the current cinematics. So you can get a sense of where we think this is headed. And John may have lost the links. Probably just go back, you'll find it.
Oh boy.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so here's one shot that we've been working on. So obviously we have to add audio. Very nice. I think we see the pudding.
Where's the pudding?
Go to the search button. There you go.
There it is.
Huzzah! All right. So long story short is now that we've got these 2D cinematics, I think that the idea is we want to kind of expand this idea. And today, JB, if you want to come on camera, you can be part of this discussion too. The question is what do we want to do to kind of move these forward? And we were discussing ideas about how that might look, whether or not they might have kind of a comic book format or more of a movie format. We were kind of discussing all the ideas. And Andrew, I don't want to put you on the spot or anything, but just kind of what are your thoughts that things that you like and what you're interested to do? What about this project is different and maybe nothing, maybe it's boring as all get out. But I was just curious what your thoughts are kind of off the cuff.
The artwork I really like the artwork and the lighting because I can make it really atmospheric and add a lot of particles, which always make everything look better, I think, when I'm working on these things. But a lot of different mice to move around at different angles.
Yeah, a lot of bits.
Yeah.
I think you're on camera.
I'm on
Don't
camera?
lean back too far.
I'm also looking forward to doing some more of the action shots, like the one where she jumps out of the building and stuff. That would be really fun.
Yeah, I think that would be a hoot.
Yeah. It amazes me just how much life comes to those images just by doing. It's the Ken Burns effect when you see an image come in and pan out or pan across, and I mean just doing that adds life to lifeless images.
In a pretty heavy way.
Yeah.
It's really surprising.
And then that jump to your work, Andrew. It's cool just to see how much motion adds.
Yeah.
There's also what I'm doing in these, which I didn't do in the Beatrix Potter stuff or a lot of the earlier comic book stuff, is having stuff in 3D layers, 3D cameras, so it even gives it more of a dimension to it.
That's something I'd be interested to explore, depending on what we decide to do. But places like foreshortening and blurring in the foreground and parallax features and stuff, you can have some really fun things.
Yeah.
Cinematics, going back to just video games, cinematics have this kind of weird double world in games. Some people really live and die for them, and they used to be an absolute staple. Then for a while, everyone said they were passe and everything should be in game. And I remember playing StarCraft, so whenever that came out, I don't even remember. And I loved the cinematics in it because there was little cutscenes and you kind of added story to it. And probably the next Blizzard game I played was Warcraft 3, where they tried to do everything in game, but the quality of the graphics in game were a lot lower, and I didn't like it.
That's something that's always bothered me because you're like, is this in game? Or they use it as a pitch in the sales and advertising. And then you get the game, and it's way dumbed down.
Yeah, well, there's this whole argument that says that if it's inside a game, everything has to be in engine,
right.
And I just don't buy that.
No.
Although what's nice is more recently, I think cutscenes have kind of been made more of a renaissance, and appreciate the guys at Extra Credits who talk about it plays a role, right? There's a time and a space for this. Don't overuse it, but there's a time where it's the right tool. So I'm excited to do this kind of stuff because I love the narrative stuff. Well, I will talk about this as long as you guys want. It looks like we're close to being able to post a build, and I can start playing. But this is kind of a fun conversation anyway. And then Sam, let us know if there's any questions that people have, so we can react to those. For you, Andrew, let me ask you a question. Where do you see the work that you've done? Like, where are people using motion graphics today compared to where it was 5-10 years ago? Like, what are you seeing in that?
Well, this is more of like a hybrid between classical animation and motion graphics. But I mean, I think I've always thought it would be perfect for game cinematics. That's why I did that Ezreal thing from League of Legends, just because I thought I could do the splash images better than they were doing them. So,
it's always a good approach.
But I think that they work perfectly because you've got the 3D look that most games are in, and then you can do some really cool paintings.
Yeah.
I mean, those are the cinematics I like to see. Just like when you're reading a storybook when you're a kid and like looking at all the stuff in the background. So just anything that has like a lot of art and depth and everything like that. And then obviously I can make it move.
Yeah.
So,
what do you think is like the strength of this format, and what's compared to what's its weakness?
comparing, I think it has a completely different look than most things do, just because I get to preserve so much of the original artwork, which has always kind of been the goal. Because I'm an artist too, and I can paint, and I've done some character or background and character design and stuff like that. But most of the time, people are just handing me stuff that they've already created, which is fine with me. But yeah, just being able to take that picture that looks really cool as a still and retaining as much of that original character as I can before it's done animating. That's all.
Right on. Got a question from Nova who says, what led to the choice to illustrate the cutscenes rather than 3D? And I think, Nova, the first choice, like at the earliest stages, was totally practical. Like, we just didn't have enough time to do it one way, to do everything in 3D. It's like high polygon faces with facial rigs and all that kind of stuff. Like, it would be a big lift, and we just didn't have the manpower to do it.
Got Aaron over here looking at you.
But then I think pretty quickly we came to really like it. Like, the material that we were getting. Do you have a different opinion? Like,
no, I have something to add.
Okay, well, get on camera.
If you don't add to this,
so
I don't know if I'm still on camera.
Let's enter Aaron, who's going to be.
Hi, I'm right here. I'm the armchair. I'm the chair arm. I'm the chair. Yes, you're right. It also plays to the team's strengths.
Yes.
We don't have, in terms of especially in-house artists, we don't have super experienced 3D artists who are super experienced in animation. But however, we have 2D. We have really amazing 2D artists. Yeah. Jeremy.
Well, you said plural. Who's the other? Young lady. Who painted this?
Jeremy.
Your mom?
Jeremy.
Oh, he did this one. But you do most of the characters.
Mostly, yeah. But
that's true.
Like he still does
this particular
like 2D, like in terms of in-house talent, like and at the time when we were starting these, we were only really working with in-house talent for this stuff, and we're like starting to reach out to outside talents. Yeah. So that's one of the major reasons why we started with that. It started in that. Yeah. Like, that's where our strengths were.
What was possible, and then it became the strengths is a great question, and then we fell in love with it, and like, this actually is really pretty nice.
And just take advantage of it.
And we've worked, like we've said, we've worked with Andrew since 2010, 9, and we've always loved his art and his craft, and so it just felt right.
The truth is, I think that the stuff that you do, Andrew, isn't probably. I don't see people using it where they should, and so I agree with you. Like, I think that game is a great place for it. It's interesting this comes up because this entire we can see the menu. So the set behind the menu here is the library in the gatehouse. It's the gatehouse library at Redwall Abbey. Almost the entire reason we built this set was so that we could do cinematics in it. Like,
and we haven't done one.
We've never done one. And so, like, that's why this set was built in the first place. Now, since then, we found other uses for it. But it's funny that that's just how the discussion changes over development that you would have never been ready for. So it's intriguing in that way.
That was my opinion.
Thank you very much, Aaron. And keep talking if you want to. Otherwise, I'll move on to the next phase.
Okay. Yeah.
But then, Andrew, thank you so much, and
Yeah, no problem.
I'm sure everyone's excited to see what happens next.
Cool. All right, thanks.
Okay, let me grab a controller. Pretty sure I'm on deck here. Okay. Okay, so just so you know what we're doing right now is we are in the middle of pushing. You took away my? Did you click a thing? Because you took away my controller thing. Okay. Do this. Just put it on new game. And select it. That's fine. So where we are right now in terms of production is everyone's trying to hustle to get a first kind of the closest we can get to a first round production product out. And what we've decided to do for anyone who's kind of keeping up with it is that the game has always been imagined as to be episodic, but exactly what's contained in each episode is sort of fluctuates depending on story and everything else. But this first release is going to be basically Act 1 of the play. And so that will include a Hilltop Camp level, which is exploration and talking and a lot of narrative stuff. It'll include the Catacombs, which is sort of down to the core stealth game mechanics. And then the Lily Grove chase scene will be is the action-packed kind of a big run through the world thing. Probably in the near future, and I won't interrupt this, I'll let you guys watch this.
This summer is only 2 days in. I don't see how you can possibly be ready, brother gentlemen. Pierre, old friend, Formal assures me that the stage will be ready this evening, and I've never known him to be wrong. Everything will be cut all right. Cutting things close doesn't suit me. You know that. I'm a planner. I'm a philosopher. This whole business has my humors out of balance. There, brother Woodford. You just let me fret about the play, and you make sure the feast is perfect. I'm especially looking forward to that hot Wansome salad. Oh, yes, quite right. There's much to be prepared. Friar Randall was concerned that the cheese and onion hogsbake was too heavy to follow the Grecian leeks. He may be correct. You see, there's far more need for your talents in the kitchen than out here. Let your old friend do what he's good at. Making a fool of himself. Oh, no. Very well, I'll take my leave. But please try to keep on schedule. You know how I worry. Indeed, I do. Sister Edelweiss, I trust William won't perish before he has a chance to taste the good friar's blackberry crumble.
Oh no, it's hard to say. To show you that Blackwater fever. Now I can't remedy with some nettles and wort, but that foul temper, no, that just might be fatal.
I'm not grumpy.
No, boy, you keep then boiling the sharp tongue ass for that filthy old windglass. The rusty old thing is wicked with mold and moulder. It's likely the cause of your fever for all the fuss it's bearing.
Sorry, Grandfather, I found it in the library.
No. You drinkers as tonic and you'll be out storming dark forest lowlands diggers afore a moon's turned her face this way.
No need to wait, lads. Carry on, and I'll be there shortly. Thank you for your legendary healing skills, sister. As always, we are in your debt.
We? I say it's just you who be so annoyed.
Oh, I haven't seen this in ages, and such perfect timing, dear one. Do you know who this weight glass belonged to, William?
Honest truth, I just thought it was another trinket you packed away for no good reason.
Trinket? That was. This was one of the trusty tools carried by the Lily Grove Scout Corps back when Clooney the Scourge, that wretched pirate, laid siege to Red Wall Abbey. And it so happens that this very thing has a role to play in the story we'll be telling for the abbot's celebration. I've written a play to share one of my lost legends with all of Redwall. Of course, everyone knows about Matthias and Constance and Basil Staghair, but few know about the trio of brave woodlanders from Lilygrove who played a crucial role in those events. Have you ever heard of Liam or Sophia Rivermouth?
No, but I don't suppose you could be telling me the story, since I'm bedridden and ailing, and might not live to see the play. Please?
Ah, yes, initiation. 'Twas a frozen evening in midwinter. The sky was clear, but for a loosely bound fleet of high and easterly clouds that wore the light of the full moon like a coyer glass wears a daffodil. A light snow had gathered in the hollows and shadows of the weathered oaks and hawthorns, but the ground carried little more than the dusting that fell from that gentle January. A chilly breeze stirred the heavy locks of the willow's winter maidens. Two mice warmed their paws against the night. Liam and Sophia were young, ambitious, and betrothed. By this fateful evening, they were but 3 days from being wed. Those that trained hard to join the ranks of the Lily Grove Scout Corps, a rather storied group of woodland rangers who kept safe the lands between Mossflower Country and the mountain warrens.
Okay, so this is kind of where we hand controls off to folks, and I will play the way that I like to play, which is like I like the story stuff.
I must say, this night reminds me of the time we convinced your sister that Snipe was stealing all the rye. Do you remember how frightened she was? And the shriek she made for that innocent cricket?
Oh, Liam, that's awful. Great fun, but awful. And what's a snipe anyway? You never said.
Liam was born to a struggling family of 9 brothers and sisters, with Liam being the second youngest and the 7th son. His parents had fled a famine near Castle Flore before he was even born, but he still grew up feeling like an outsider. As it was, Liam became the pride of the entire family as he worked hard to be the first professional in the clan. Indeed, his promotion made his mother weep for joy and his father beam with pride. Liam was, perhaps, a wee bit portly, and this trait is what taught him to be quick with a smile and ready with a joke. All of Lily Grove thought him to be congenial and kind, but underneath the mirth, Liam felt enormous pressure to achieve something great for his family, which could make him anxious. Surely his kindness disguised a mouse who was driven and strong-willed. I suspect he had strong warden tendencies, and a bit of the jester. His eye for Sophia opened just as they both applied to the Scout Corps, and when he saw her in a name day dance, her twirling her skirts and easy smile captured his heart, and he never looked elsewhere the rest of his days.
Just a quick note here, I'm going to pause for a second. Someone asked, how far after Redwall, the book, is Jethro and William, specifically when do they exist? So in short, William and Jethro live after the rogue crew. So we're putting them all the way at the very end of the current Redwall chronology, but in an unspecified time. So largely what we've done in that regard is just give us lots of room to decide. And that might be like, a week after the rogue crew. But we haven't really decided. But the point is they're quite a bit later, just to give us lots of room to deal with. So I'm going to move forward.
What were they doing out in the snow? It's the middle of the night.
It was initiation night. After a great deal of training and preparation, each candidate had to prove that they were ready to bear the tools of a Lily Grove Scout, like this windlass. Scouts needed to survive in the wilderness without aid or comfort. They learned to travel difficult territory and assist others in times of need. It was a tough job, and not to be taken lightly. The one had graduated just a week prior, and now it was time for the other to prove their mettle. Once initiated, they planned to wed, but that was not to be. Not yet, anyway.
Initiation. Why haven't we've planned so long for this. Now that it's here, I'm not sure I'm ready.
I feel the same way. It feels as though I've had such certainty getting here, but I haven't the faintest notion of what comes next. It's exciting.
Well, I mean, there are some layers.
Yes.
That's true. So, just like that pie, I mean, I can do something similar. I mean, we got the turkey. That's, I mean, I know it's obvious.
Alas, sire, wait. I hope you'll pardon. The fiery ring of devastation needed to be refueled. I trust neither of you causes shivers. I was sick with the Reff for my initiation. It'd make a bit of difference, though. A scout needs to be ready, no matter the situation. So, which one of you is in the dock this fine winter evening?
It's my turn, sir. I'm ready.
Oh, are you now? Leah, you kept our initiation rite a secret, I trust. No spoiling the surprises?
No, sir. Not a word.
I mean,
On my honor.
Very good. Initiate. Head up to camp and check in with Roosevelt. He'll be dithering with the victims, no doubt. Don't lollygag. There's a lot to do tonight.
Before you go, take this. The Sisters of the Abbey made it special for this occasion. I'm very proud of you. I hope you know that. See you next when you're a scout.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I'll do that.
That's a good one to start with, because it's obviously set the stage.
Yeah, I'll do that. I believe you for 15 minutes. I'll do that and get that.
Taking over my mouse?
Sorry.
What do you think you're doing?
Yeah.
What do you want?
Nothing. They can't see the portrait, so they wanted it changed, and I forgot that there would be conflicting controls because I'm a dummy.
What do you mean they can't see the portraits?
Because the game couch is over.
Oh.
Like the whole little thing. I don't know if I even know how to do that though.
See, so they would pop up right up here.
Oh, I see.
So could you move your camera over to the left side? Should be fairly easy, I guess.
Yeah, go ahead and try, Sammy. Now that I know I'm not fighting with you, I'll just pause.
Or put him top right.
Yeah.
Because they muted. Okay, you should be able to hear it now.
Just wait a little bit, see if we can hear it. So someone, it got into the mute. And then can you move the camera to the upper right while you're there?
Yep.
The camera's already moved, so.
Oh, how'd you do that?
I have no idea.
Okay. Let's hope we're just good.
Okay, good. Yay.
Okay.
Oh, can you click continue? If I go off the top, by the way, that's a bug. If I go off the top, I lose it. Get up there.
Really now? Does he look like the type to spend his days elbow deep in buttercream, rolling out scones and taking a wee taste of every peppered pie from here to Salamanca? I do quite like that photo. That's not what I meant at all. I'm trying to point out that you don't look at all like Rootsworth. Well, yes you do, but you see, he's big. Oh, but not like that. Not like you. You're tall and big. Look here, Initia. This is Laban, not Rootsworth. I'm sure I mentioned him when we were training to pick up scents in the wild, because Laban here has a nose as good as any mole's. The Mouse is up at the Spitfire. Come right on inside and you can't miss it. And by that time, it's impossible to miss it.
Fish.
It makes me a proud mouse to see youngsters like yourself continuing with the Scout Corps. Every generation wonders if they'll be the last, if our values and traditions will be forgotten, and the silver bloom become nothing more than a decoration on the wall. Your father wanted to be a scout. Did you know that? But that gammy paw of his kept him from it. Do you know how he got that injury?
He never said.
No. Well, I like to think it came from a mighty brawl with some dreadful vermin. As good a tale as any, if you ask me. You just keep that little yarn and think on your father with pride. It'll keep you righted to know courage runs in your own veins.
Thank you, sir. Will.
Be about your business now, Initiate. It's a big night for you.
A fine evening, Tuffer. Could you use some help?
No. Why do you think I need help? I can do this job just as well as any beast here. I don't see you offering to help any of them.
No, I didn't mean anything by it.
Of course not. And I'm sorry for nothing. That's a big night for you two, isn't it? You and me, I mean. So much hard work by the both of you to get to this moment, and my sour mood strikes the shine.
Not in the least, Tuffer. I'm so giddy that not even a vermin war cry could dim my spirit. And I owe a great deal to you. You've been a tremendous help.
Naturally, there are only the two of us girls. We stick together.
Here's our initiate now. Glad you finally made it. Finally indeed. The moon's full up and we haven't even started the soup. Yes, well, I'll leave you to Rootsworth while I prepare for the ceremony. Do all that he asks, and when the tests are complete, you'll be given your badge. Assuming, of course, that you complete all the tests. I presume you're prepared? Very well then. I retire to the observation deck as I have much to prepare. I leave you in Rootsworth's capable paws. Now then, where shall we start? Your first job is to get tonight's supper started, and we'll be making soup. Exactly what kind of soup is up to you, but let old Rootsworth give ye a few pointers. Everybody has their loves and everybody has their hates. 'Tain't no way, no how to make everybody happy, but a smart chef can usually keep everybody fed. Yonder there is a chest full of vittles, all manner of different ingredients, spices, and a recipe or two to get you started. If all you're up to is following directions, then you'll pass the test, but a good chef always has a signature flavor, a special bit of flair that's his and his alone. If you're of the heart, then learn the particulars of your fellow scouts and ship the recipe to adapt. In that chest is a good start, but nothing makes a lovely stew like fresh herbs and vegetables gathered fresh from the field. Go do your scrounging and come back here to see how to turn cold water into a hearty broth that'll make a badger lord weep. Oh no, my boy, nothing of the sort. But certainly you know how important a good meal can be. It's not just a matter of eating, even the vermin feed. It's a matter of fellowship and joy, of celebrating what is truly best whenever we're given the moment to try. Any beast can eat, but only a creature of good heart can feast. The first secret to all good things is a proper application of salt. You learn to get that right and you'll be halfway to a Master Chief in one step.
Did you say Master Chief?
Did I?
No, Master Chef. Chef.
Oh, I think I died the one. Hey Sam, am I missing something? Oh, never mind. They haven't started this quest yet. I gotta do this again.
Ah, here's our initiative now. Finally. Yes, well. Very well then. Now, you're through. Everybody. Yonder. Isn't it? Go do yours. No, my boy. Nothing of the sort. But certainly you know how important a good meal can be. It's not just a matter of eating. Even the vermin feed. It's a matter of fellowship and joy. Of celebrating what is truly best whenever we're given the moment to try. Any beast can eat, but only a creature of good heart can feast.
Sam, what am I missing? And this is, I don't know if this is a bug thing or what, but now, what do I do next? Like, I feel like I learned a bunch of... What's that?
Do you have something to look at that will tell you what to do next?
Well, this might be the same question we had yesterday. Is the objective says to make food, but I'm not seeing what to do. And I'm not getting inventory out of the cart, and nor is it going into the soup pot. So, just so you know, everybody watching, like, we're in the middle of bug fixing, so this isn't weird.
Wait, so what do your objectives say currently? I just want to see if my changes made in anything.
Well, that's interesting.
A vegetable and a spice.
So, where do I get them? Like, they should be in the cart, but they're not coming up.
Or go to pantry.
So is this the?
The other
Yeah.
side, go to the
Right.
fronty bit. No, the other side. To make the collider larger if this is an issue. Put it where it made more sense to me.
Oh yeah, I didn't even get in that far. I just didn't get close enough.
We want it to be a prompt instead of automatic too, so that should be.
Yeah, so I think that's right. And now I'm seeing the blueberries and everything else too. So something got quirky there, but.
Is that your soup? You can still mix it up a bit more right now, but once the lid goes on top, you'll be done. Live or die with the consequences.
Yes, I think that's it. What do you think?
I think any meal is better than an empty stomach, and that no mouse is a master overnight. You gave it your best, and that's the point. Now you have much more to do this evening, so get to it. Check in with Mr. Coyle and he'll instruct you on what's to follow. Growing up without her father, Sophia knew she was prone to idolize other male mice in the village, particularly as the broth began to simmer and steam. The escaping sense told everyone in camp exactly the choices she'd made, with or without their say, and the thought made her feel both vulnerable and powerful at the same time.
There you are, dear. Ready to begin? Nothing to be worried about, of course, except for the fiery ring of devastation. But I'm sure you'll manage. In order to become a full member of the Lily Grove Scout Corps, you must complete a series of tests to prove you've got the mettle. These are the things you've been training for the last several months, so I don't expect you'll find any surprises. Here are some chits that will record your score at each station. And initiate, I've been doing this a long time, and most every youngster has a single burning question by now that they've been too afraid to ask. When will you learn to fight? Am I right? All I can say right now is, not tonight, but soon. All clear? Very well, carry on.
Jumping June bugs! You scared me out to death. Oh, you caught me thinking about that corn maze you did. Did you know Freebie made it all by himself? Really mechanical lads? No, the walls must have helped him. Either way, it's quite impressive if you think about it. So, initiate. This is the start of the Woolly Memory course. On your map, you'll find 4 landmarks, each coded with a bearing and an elevation. Locate each landmark, stand at its marker, and use your wavelength to find a hidden geocache. There are 4 tokens to be acquired, 1 with each cache, and you may need to use your slingshot as well. And remember, it's a tool, not a weapon. There's no correct way to complete the course, but you'll need to be clever to gather all the clues. Apart from that, feel free to be creative. Bring tokens to me when you're done. correct way to complete the course, but you'll need to be clever to gather all the clues. Apart from that, feel free to be creative. Bring the tokens to me when you're done.
Oh, we got pink. Hey, Aaron. Just want to make sure you see this.
Oh my goodness.
That was an interesting color choice.
Oh dear.
What is that? That's one of my caches, isn't it? I want to do it the right way, though. I don't want to accidentally find it. Okay. Wrong one. There's the carrot. Okay, so from here. See, 312 northwest. You know what I noticed about the spyglass? Is this a bug? Is it whether or not when I come out of the spyglass, I'm not facing the way that I was facing. So I've lost which way any of that was. It's a bug.
You're not facing.
Okay, so for example, if I go into the way glass and I turn wherever I'm at, right? So let's say I turn over here. But then when I exit, that's not the way, or at least that's not the way the camera's facing. I'm not even sure if that's the way I'm facing or not. I don't think so. I don't think my facing or the camera changed with me.
Good.
Cash found. should be right here. You can see that. I'm gonna, just for the sake of the show, I'm gonna move past this and go to the set maze.
Welcome to the most ingenious, clever, brilliant implementation of a stealth maze in Scout Code history. It's mesmerizing. And yes, there's no need to wonder. I designed it myself. So, it looks like you have the check from Mr. Kyle. Everything is in order. If you're ready to be dazzled, you may proceed.
Where are you going?
Welcome to the most ingenious, clever, brilliant implementation of a stealth maze.
Get out. Yeah, no, not gonna work.
The first rule of stealth is easy enough. Don't be seen. Through the marvels of my clever engineering, you can tell just where and how far the great beastie can see. And right now, he's got his cruel gaze fixed on just the thing you need to proceed. A key to the next gate. But Roman, don't react instantly. Keep a weather eye on your enemies, and you'll get a sense of their awareness of you. The closer you are, the faster they'll react. But you'll always have a moment or two to recover stealth, in case you're caught by surprise. So then, Initiate, how do you suppose a clever scout can get his paws on that key without being seen and captured?
wee hint, eh? Have you considered what a slick stone might do in such a predicament? Hmm?
Okay, thank you.
Good show. Exploration is what keeps all of this scouting work fun. You never know what you'll find around the next bend.
What's the button? What's the right trigger? Right trigger just gave it up. I think that's a bug we got here too. I got nothing. Anyways, I found out it's 2:20. So, anyways, this was fun just to kind of show you guys what we're working on. Clearly, we're banging out a lot of bugs, making sure we find out what's not quite clicking up, and we still have work to do, but it's coming a long way. And we're gonna be doing more of this. So, if any of y'all have been on Steam Early Access, the place we're in right now is we're gonna be making some pretty regular updates to Steam. And what we really hope is help us find these bugs, and we'll knock them down. I can't show you on the camera, but behind me there's our working list of bugs, and we've been knocking them down pretty fast. But then you find them, right? As soon as you sort of fix one, it reveals another one. So we would appreciate all your help in there. And there's a feedback form, and then if you're not on the Discord channel, that's a great place to do it too, because we're on there pretty regularly, and folks have been super helpful there. So I want to call out a couple names actually. So like Nova and Optic Emu, you guys have been awesome helping us find this stuff, and so thank you. So we do pay attention and we listen to it. Durkee especially is like really on that stuff. So that's what I'll call it good for today, and hope to see you next week, and hopefully we're making progress as you see fit. All right guys, have a great day.